What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's Carpo. Nighttime rant here. Let's see if I can get some kind of a focus. It's sometime in I don't know, mid-July, right? July 10th, 11th, something. It all becomes relative. Counting time is like, yeah, you know. So anyway, as the years go by and I hear about all the different philosophies, I guess, that people have had in the past, I always pose questions to myself, like somebody else asked me the other day on a comment. He said, "Tell me one truth that you know." And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, that's a damn good question. But I already knew the answer in the back of my mind, which is the old Descartes slogan, I think, therefore I am. And it, everybody's heard that quote before, but it took me years to really grasp what it meant. And after reading enough different lectures and books, hearing people that had different ideas about what it meant to be alive and all the different theories on reality and birth and death, I finally learned about that the whole notion that you can never really know anything for certain. I mean, you can think that you know, but anyway, it leads you to that I think, therefore I am, which doesn't mean, I think, so I'm alive. But it does, in a way. It's the fact that the only thing that we can really hold on to for sure is our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences. So in this, some people call it a struggle, but I call it a blessing, life itself. In this life we experience, we have a choice to make. Are we going to live it in fear and anger and trying to prove ourselves, or are we going to live it in comfort and understanding and not be disillusioned by everything? It's overwhelming, the amount of stuff out there, but when you simplify it, cut it down to the basics, what's important, you start to forget about all those things that just become so overwhelming at times. But that's me anyway. But this whole idea about knowing and understanding life, it's something we all go through at one time or another. No matter who you are, no matter what state you are in mentally right now, or no matter what you've been through, there's guaranteed to have been a time in your life where you've questioned existence. If a person has grown to their adulthood and not pondered what it means to be alive, I feel really sorry for that person. But I'm pretty sure that even the most ignorant and foolhardy among us have pondered what it means to be alive and looked at their body and said, what is this? What is this? What is this leaf in front of me? And what is this insect doing? And maybe some people don't take it so deep, but at least pondering your own existence. And it's like they say, once you've, it's a rude awakening. And once you've woken up, there's no going back. There's no retreating back into a shell. It's like once you've come out of the cave entrance, the door shuts behind you, and that's it. And some peek out, let me say. They get a glimpse of the craziness of the world, and they choose to stay back in the cave. And that's fine, too, if that's what they choose. I think mankind's goal is to search for understanding. But anyway, along that search, we have a lot of mishaps and misunderstandings, and we start asking ourselves what's important, what really matters. And I think what it all comes down to is that universal personal understanding, and it can't be stressed enough. A million videos have been made about the self, but it's not a selfish notion. If you want to break it down, it's not about the individual as a human. It's about the individual as an entity, as a force, being able to make a change. You are a human, a conscious human. You have the ability to go out and make a change the environment for the good or for the bad, depending on how you view it. But at the same time, whether or not we're here by chance or, we're here by some crazy force and have a purpose is really irrelevant to the fact that we are individuals. We each have our own lives to live. Some live for the afterlife, and this is where things get confused because they figure now doesn't matter. This material world is completely useless. And many spiritualists are on that same path where they really abandon their emotions. They put on that fake front, and they have that disillusionment and that idea that being angry is bad, or certain emotions are to be avoided, or certain experiences, and it's it's just not the reality I see. There are no experiences to be avoided. There are only experiences. And it's kind of like when you talk to your elders. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she was saying how she wishes she could explain to me some of the things that she went through so I don't go through them. But at the same time, I say, hey, you have to realize that I'm an individual, that we all have to go through these experiences. You can't tell your kids how to grow up, in other words. And likewise, you can't tell another person what their experience should be like, because it's very subjective. So I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell in all this rambling is you don't have to take the path of least resistance. You don't have to take the path of hardship. And for each person, it's individual. I'm not here to, tell anybody how to live, because I don't understand each individual's needs, wants, desires, shortcomings. We all have our own. And I see a lot of very intelligent people coming together, and I feel like today's philosophers don't have to hide anymore. We can get together and discuss these issues, and try to understand a little better who we are, try to understand a little better what we really want out of life, and we can talk about it in a way where we're not condescending to one another. And it's because it's only the people who are strong enough to understand ourselves, those of us who have seen past the bullshit. And it doesn't mean we don't feed into it, because even I've met some very intellectual people on YouTube who still bite, let's say, on somebody who's harassing. Avoiding tactics aren't always the path. Being quiet or just turning your back on a situation is not always the best method. Sometimes it is. Sometimes confrontation is the path. And that's the whole idea of philosophy: argument, reason. These are things that have been tackled by philosophers, for thousands of years, and have been written down and documented. And there will always be one guy that pops up and claims to have the answer to something like free will. And it's laughable to me when people talk as if they know what free will is, even something that simple. It's a very complex issue. There's, determinism, and we have all these different points of view on how much free will we have, whether things are determined. That's just one point among many that people claim to have the answer to. And so anyway, those of us who understand that it's kind of laughable to claim any one truth on old philosophies, still understand that there are things we can share with each other and learn from one another. And I love learning from everybody. I've learned more from my friends on YouTube and videos that have been made underground than I can attribute to any other real learning source. I mean, I'm fascinated with all documentaries, but I've learned how to sort through the bullshit. I know there's a lot of young YouTubers out there, young internet users, who maybe haven't quite understood how to sense a degree of righteousness or a degree of nonsense. In other words, your bullshit detector will improve over time, and you start to feel out what's right. Honestly, the subject matter that we discuss with one another, at least the people I talk with on YouTube, no matter what a person believes or how convincing they are, if their attitude and their mentality and their behavior doesn't reflect an environment for conversation, then their ideas are unwarranted. In other words, let's say the second coming of Christ came tomorrow and he busted out on YouTube, started making videos and telling everyone they were dicks and they needed to listen to him. That kind of stuff wouldn't fly. People don't buy it. It takes a degree of kindness, patience, and understanding if you want to be a teacher. That's a degree I don't quite have yet, and I'm working on, but as just a person who discusses issues, I'm with the group that teaches each other, because people plant ideas in my head every day, and I think about them all day long, and then I can really get a new insight, and I'm sure I've probably shared a few ideas with others in the same way, and they'll come back, and we'll go back and forth, and in the end, we all have something to contribute. I'm fascinated with all the philosophers in history and even all the modern geniuses, like Tesla. It's just guys who have just not got the credit they deserve. Some of the best philosophers and the best creators, the best inventors, some of the geniuses and the best minds in history have just been disregarded. Their ideas stolen. It's just sad. Anyway, I'll save that for another video. Take care, everybody, and have a great evening. And remember, this is a team effort. It's not us against them. It's not about who has knowledge or what secret knowledge is what. It's about what can we share and how can we use it to improve our world. I love y'all. I really do. Some of you are kind of assholes and some of you are really cool, but I love you all as humans because we're all part of the same organism. Peace.